Frank the Best Geek here. Well, I'm here today because Ermi is getting her nails done. The car's getting washed for her, and she's passenger princess today. So I thought that while I was sitting here waiting for the next 3 hours for her to be done with her nails, I would just do a podcast about what's happened in the last week, because it has been interesting the last week of things that have been happening. I'm trying to check and make sure that, yeah, we're live. Let me double check. All right, audio's good. I have to double check everything because you never know. Actually, today's topic, it has nothing to do with SEM or SEO. I should have done that, but we're doing a live podcast on a weekly basis, and I thought I'd do a special edition, catching you guys up on what's been happening. 2 weeks ago, hey, we had the pleasure of going to Michigan, to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and meet the folks over at Pest Pros of Michigan, Maria Sorrentino, Tony, Michelle Coy was there. Laura, I keep forgetting your last name. I'm so sorry. Had a very awesome presentation on hiring. And it was very enlightening for those of you that want to grow. You're going to have to learn to hire. Hiring isn't easy. A lot of you are scared of it. But I want you to think of hiring as something that you have to add to your repertoire, and you have to add as a skill set. Now, you can do two things to add a skill set. You can either learn it. There's a huge learning curve. You can hire it out and subcontract it or delegate it. That's pretty much the only way. You have to buy the time, and the only way you can buy the time is to buy the experience, but obviously that's going to cost you more. So there's always a trade-off. How long is it going to take? You still got to learn to hire. Even if you hire a recruiter, you still have to learn to interview. You're still going to be a 50-50 crapshoot. You're still going to go through the pain of having to lose people. It's ironic that we went to that conference, me and Ermi, because she's a manager at a very large company, and she has 5 people under her, and I have 3 people that I employed. 2 people that I employed. I employ a third one as a contractor, but I still have to manage those relationships. Let me cut this so that I can. It's going to be I got to thank Will from Wisconsin for this cigar. This is a Padron large range gauge. I'm sure this is exquisite. Padron, you're never going to go wrong with Padron. I'm having what is known as a café con leche, which is a latte. Okay, had my breakfast, and I said I'm going to have a latte, and I'm going to enjoy Will's cigar from Wisconsin. This thing is a beauty. Man, it's a fat ring gauge. I don't smoke anything under 60 ring gauge. I'm like, dang, dude, but you're a big guy. Look at me. I'm a little guy, but I got a big mouth. I have a big mouth, humongous mouth, which I use not in coordination with my ears always. But hey, it's part of what makes me unique. Yes, I do need to learn to listen more. I've been told repeatedly, profusely, and I get better at it. I mean, I do listen when I'm engaged and when I have to lean into a conversation. However, most of the time, my brain is all over La La Land on 5 things that I need to do, and I don't hear, things of, hey, I'm talking to you, and it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm gone. Got my daughter calling me. She's over in Philadelphia now with her mom. I'll have to call her back when I'm done with this. And just this week, we've been looking to hire already another technician to do specialty stuff, to do our exclusion service, to do backup, a basic and auxiliary guy part-time that, he works, because I'm looking for people that are already employed and they want to move up in life and aren't necessarily unemployed and desperate for a job. That's just my strategy. It works for me. Anytime you make a decision in desperation, it always doesn't turn out right. So I don't hire out of desperation. I don't do marketing out of desperation. A lot of people say I'm too slow to react sometimes, but I've learned that when I do react, I'm the one that has to pay for it. Understand it's my pocketbook, and you can give me all the advice you want, but at the end of the day, I have to execute. And because I have to execute, I also have to take responsibility for all the results. And so I'm a little bit more cautious at 53 than I was at 43 than I was at 33. I'll be 54 now in June, and experience. I am not as fast as I used to be. I'm gonna light this bad boy up, and I really had a good conversation with him and his wife. They're wanting to grow. He went into this game after 35 years of being a technician. He's 57 now, Will, and that was an interesting conversation because, again, everybody's in a different place. Everybody's in a different place in life. Everybody has a different tolerance level of what they can tolerate, how much stress they can take on, and until somebody's financial position and what they've gone through and what they've been through or what they're going through, there's no way that you can give advice on a situation. I can do a general podcast on scenario case studies and this and that, but at the end of the day, the consulting part comes in where you actually know the person, that and know them, what their limits are, what their fears are, what their financial limitations. So he went into this in COVID, believe it or not, during COVID, 2020 or 2019. He told me, terrible time to start. I know, because I started in 2009 when the market crapped, and that was an incredible. So, he's starting up at 57 is way different than a guy starting up at 37. How much pain he can take. Obviously he's got his finances in order. He's got, his retirement in order. He doesn't want to screw that up. And he has a house, and, you paid off your house or whatever. What is the financial tolerance that your spouse can take? I mean, is your spouse willing to go 50, $100,000, $200,000 in debt to grow a company at that stage in their life? No. So the circumstances are different every time. For me, the circumstances are different now that I own a home again. I owned the home when I started up, and I had bought a condo, and the plan was for me to use the profits to invest it into real estate, not grow my business, just use my profits, grow at a 20% a year, grow gradually, grow with profit, and reinvest the rest, never to scale a business. And a divorce later cost the house and the condo. Things happen to people. I mean, people are hurting. I'm talking to people all over the place that if they're not dealing with a disease problem, they're not dealing with, I had to deal with burnout and chronic fatigue. And I had to figure out what was wrong. It took $20,000 in lab work to figure it out. Do I want to be stressed with 5 new technicians training and running around and going insane? No, I've got an opportunity now to grow in a market that has opened up for me in Gainesville. I'm looking to buy a company over there, buy a route, and I have a technician with a lot of experience who I know personally, is a friend of the family, and he wants to start something up in life. He already had startup experience, which failed, which was very difficult, and so opportunities appear, but I have placed myself in a place where I can take on opportunities, and I can choose which opportunities I turn down, which one I accept, what I pass on, what I don't feel pressured to do. And now at the end of this week, yesterday, my technician, my only technician, which we stayed with, because I was able to get route efficiency, and I was able to, he works 40 hours a week, produces what 2 guys used to produce, yet he's not stressed out, but he's been with me 4 years. Interestingly enough, I offered him to give him his certified operator, make him a certified operator so that we can grow, so that I can start another branch in another county. And I said, look, things are looking up. The economy did take a hit for, 6 months to a year. But I'm investing a lot more. It's starting to show. He's starting to see the new initials. Just last week, he had a record week. Took home $1,900 on 40 hours. The week before that, he took $1,700. I mean, and he's not working more than 40 hours a week. Why? Because I pay my people well. I charge super expensive, and I grow at a 20%. And we had a 21% growth this last year with 17% profit margin. I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, I'm like the dream, right? He hits me up that, hey, I'm leaving Miami. I want to move to Texas. I got an opportunity to go work with a large company over there, where it's a lot less expensive. He can make less money, but he can own a home. Here, he doesn't stand a chance of owning a home. I mean, the starter home right now, you need 50,000 in the bank to buy a townhouse, and it's $500,000. I get it. I understand. I told him, bro, I love you. I wish the best for you. I'm not going to ever try to hold you back. And, it's a good company you're going to go work for. It's not even in pest control. It's a merchandise manager for a beverage brand, that his buddy works there and got him a job. And he's decided. I was already in the process of hiring people. I just didn't expect that I'm going to have to hire 2 technicians now again, because he was a technician too, doing lawn and ornamental, GHB, startups, clean outs. I mean, the guy was a pro, and now I have to hire 2 guys with no experience and train them up in the next 60 days, most likely. Luckily, I was recruiting, and I had a database of people that I liked, that I wanted to interview. I called them both up, and they said, yeah, man, I'm still interested. Why? Because they have a job. One of them has a job right now, and he wants to move out of that career, doesn't want to be in a kitchen anymore. And the other guy has been a manager at a landscape company. He's been basically a team leader, with a crew chief, and he's managed teams of 4 or 5 people. But he doesn't want to do landscaping anymore. He wants to move up in somewhere that he can either upgrade his skills, but he knows all about plants and diseases, and he knows 90% of the plants. That's going to save me a year's worth of training. Great guy. I asked him how much he wanted, was in range with what I can pay to start up, more than I'm paying the other guy, because he has management experience. And I look for managers, and I look for people that have management experience. This guy looks like he doesn't have to be managed too much, and he's a good team player, and he's got a great attitude. So, when you're growing, and these are going to be the breaks, you have opportunities galore. All of a sudden, all the opportunities pop out of the sky where I have to make a huge investment. I got a guy working in Venezuela right now on my pages and on my website, and upgrading. We're going to create a new website for the new market. I have him working on that. Eric is transitioning over to SEO from media and marketing. His daughter is starting to take over the media stuff, and we're building a nice little marketing team. I'm getting into ads right now. I'm doing LSA. Next month, I'm taking my termite license in June. So all this is going on all the time, and then I got to take a step back and say it's all part of the game. Play a mental game with myself. Say, Frank, it's all part of the game. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the game. It's not anything weird that's happening. It's not the universe conspiring against you. It's not people stabbing you in the back. I mean, he was honest enough to give me 2 months notice and come to me and say, I hate to tell you, but I want to do this. And I'm blown, like, go for it. I'm never going to hold you back. I'm going to make my daughter a technician ID holder, because she's 15 now. She can be one. And if anything happens in the future in the next 3 years, I'm looking out that I will have a certified operator that can step in, even though she's 18, doesn't know anything, legally step in. And if anything happens to me, I'm always having to think 2 to 3 steps ahead of what's coming. And a lot of times you get blindsided. And the game that you got to play with yourself is to keep saying this is a game. And I understand it's par for the course. It's not personal. It's not anything that's gone wrong. You've done everything right. You've done a lot of things wrong too. And, you move forward. And this is where we're at. I hope you guys can see me enjoy this cigar with me. I don't know if you're having a cigar. I don't know who's online. All of these things, we're adding new services this year. We're adding, pest intrusion detection service, which is huge down here with old homes, where we're doing smoke testing. to try to find where other companies have failed, and they haven't failed. It's just that there's an intrusion that nobody to look for. That's an opportunity for us. Termite is going to get added. We added exclusion services last year. It's going pretty well with that. We're adding minor exclusions and major exclusions. Most of them are minor. So, I mean, guys, this is what running a business is like. I wish I could change that so nobody's confused about it. People are logging, oh, he's going to talk about SEO and he's talking about something else. My bad. I was actually looking at where to change that, and I keep forgetting this is new software that I'm learning to use. But it allows me to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. It gives me freedom, which is really what most of us are really wanting. Let me see if I can open up the chat over here in the chat room. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, I got a couple of people on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. I think we're on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is being a pain right now with us. We're on YouTube Live. And we're doing a ton of software, guys, that allows us to automate redistribution and publishing, which is it's an enormous amount of work manually. So we've invested a lot in automation this year to automate our SEO with AI in the background, AI inside the website to auto link and do stuff and do internal linking. I mean, I got a software that can do 20,000 interactions inside the website at one time, fix things, because we're not going to be able to spend the money on labor, even overseas. I mean, we were building a team in Ecuador with 2 people, and Ecuador is right now going through turmoil with communism, and there's power outages everywhere, and people can't even work. So even if I hired a person and their power is gone all day long, how do they get internet? Venezuela is having the same problem with a lot of areas just not having reliable internet. Lucky that guy I hired lives in a big city, and he speaks Spanish, so I speak Spanish, so it's easy for me to do a lot of these things because also the language. So when we're talking to people about growth and opportunities, understand their skill sets. You got to do an inventory of your skill sets and say, what am I good at? I'm having a friend that I'm trying to help. His skill set is just pest control. There's no way he can. I mean, I do video after video after video showing him, and he becomes overwhelmed, and it's overwhelming for him on how to do a lot of this SEO stuff and how to do the website stuff and how to do this and how to do the other. Skill sets are important. You have to acquire them, or you have to pay somebody. For instance, I've had for the last 3 years a cleaning lady. That saves me 6 hours a week that I don't have to clean a house. For $150 that I pay somebody to clean my house, they're there for 6 hours on average, and now I'm paying them an extra $50 to do the laundry. They're there for an extra hour, and I'm there usually during the time, so I would do the laundry, wash it, and put it in the dryer, and they're folding it for me. It saves us an enormous amount of time. So where can I buy time? If you've got to mow your lawn, hire somebody to mow the lawn, but you don't spend 2 hours mowing the lawn. They're not going to do it as good as you. I don't care. Ermi's having a fit because she doesn't fold the clothes right the same way she does. She doesn't put them in the right place. They don't smell the same, this, that, and I said, yeah, you're right, but you're telling me to delegate because I got to delegate. And then when I delegate, you say, I don't like the way you delegated because the person isn't doing it. Okay, fine. When she's here, why don't you tell her how she's doing it wrong? No, but, I don't want to offend her. That's the problem. People want to delegate, and they want to find someone that does it just like them, but they're not willing to tell the person how they want it done, which way they want it done, and how they're doing it wrong because they don't want to seem mean. So you can't delegate. You can't manage. Me, it's like, hey, she does it 80% right. I'm happy. All I got to do is put it away, and it takes me 15 minutes to put the laundry away. Why? Because I have a princess at home. Not because she wants to be a princess, because I treat her like a princess, because she works in enormously long hours. She leaves the house at 6 a.m, gets home at 7 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, and the last thing I want her to do when she's home on Saturday is work. The last thing I want to do is when I'm Saturday in work. This isn't work for me. A lot of people are like, man, you spend all this time doing the podcast. This isn't work. This is fun. This is me telling you what goes on in my week, giving myself a little bit of therapy, letting you know you're not totally insane, that you're not alone in this, that you have to talk it through. And sometimes we just have to talk it through. And the words coming out of my mouth has to hit my brain make it down to my heart and be able to accept a lot of things. And I have no one sometimes to verbalize it with because everybody around me doesn't understand. She doesn't understand. As much as she tries to understand me, she listens to me and she just becomes a listener when I have to vent. But at the end of the day, she lives in corporate America. And even she has struggles where she hires somebody and now it's a mission. We say like hire slow and fire fast, right? She can't do it because she's got an enormous HR department that doesn't allow her to make those decisions. And now it's an entire process to try to move if she makes a bad hire. So it isn't always clear cut and easy and as easy as everybody makes it to be. Um, Alan Foyer had an excellent class. He did an entire day, which was exhausting. My brain shuts down after a little bit because, hey man, I got ADHD. My head starts to wander. I had to take notes. She's taking notes, but he had a beautiful class on how they hire, train, and fire people, and execute this. But Alan also has 35 years of experience, it being in the last, I think, 20 years at this company, being the technical director. And again, you have to build up the experience. Laura talked about how it took her 10 years to learn how to hire and fire in corporate America, how to build her team the way she wanted to build it. It took her 10 years. So this idea that because you take a class, you read the book, you have a lot of shelf knowledge, bookshelf knowledge, but you still have to pay the price and learn and do these things. And you can't just do it and expect that because you listened to a book, took the class, spent an entire day with Alan without execution and without doing the work and failing at it and getting better at it every time you do it. And it is painful because there's emotions involved. It's just here, and here that you have to make all the connections. And it doesn't always happen the way you want it to. He showed 20% of his hires immediately don't make it. Laura was talking that 30 to 40% of people decide they're going to quit. Got to hydrate. They're going to quit within the first 30 days. You wish some of your people quit quickly to avoid you the pain of having to fire them. I was having there's this thread going on with Sky Lejuan. I always butcher her name. I can never pronounce it. It's French. I have enough trouble with English and Spanish to speak French. But about how, as a Christian person, when you have to fire somebody, they throw it back at you that, oh, you're a Christian, you should have a little bit more compassion in this. And, and what Alan was talking about is, people, you give them all the opportunities, you turn the other cheek, you put them in a program to correct themselves. And when they don't, they knew the rules coming in, you were clear. And then when you have to fire them, you've given them every opportunity. You've turned the other cheek. You've walked the extra mile. You took off your cloak and you put it on them to save them from their errors. And at the end of the day, there's no way these people are going to fix themselves, or they're not a fit for the organization, or they're not a fit for the job. And you have to make the decision to fire them. And then it gets thrown back in your face that, well, you're a Christian. Like, being a Christian requires me to be tolerant of everything, to somehow have more compassion than Christ. Even Christ got pissed off, went into the temple, turned over the tables, and beat the people with a whip. Jesus, saying, hey, John the Baptist came, eating and drinking, and you said he has a demon. Here, the Son of Man comes, he doesn't eat and doesn't drink. He sits, John doesn't eat, doesn't drink, doesn't hang out with a bunch of sinners, and he has a demon. The man, Jesus, comes and he eats and drinks and with sinners, and he's a glutton. I mean, you can't win in this world. No matter what you do as a leader, if you want to lead and you want to manage, you have to listen to your people. You have to listen to good advice, surround yourself with wise counsel. But at the end of the day, you're not going to make everyone happy when you make these decisions. You're going to piss off people, and not everybody's going to be happy with your decisions. At the end of the day, your decisions are not always right, but they're still your decisions. They're the best decisions you can make with the information you have, with the intel you have, and how you're going to manage that. When you have to fire a customer, I had one this week that the customer, it was 6 calls to get the contract. Mind you, this is an $89 a month deal. 6 calls. Then he wanted to change. He wanted me to call him every single time because he wanted to be there for every service. I said, absolutely not. I told you in the initial consultation that I did for you that we don't do that. You give us a key or you leave the gate open. Well, I travel a lot. Then you got to give us a key. We put a lockbox. So he gave us the lockbox. He put the key. He wanted the shrubs done. Then he tells my guy, no, I don't want the shrubs done because I don't have the money. I can only afford the lawn. But you signed both contracts. So we had to go back and cancel that contract. Then he calls me, I'm traveling and I want to suspend the service for next month. The lawn looks a lot better and I want to be there. And I said, but we already had this discussion 3 times. I told you in the initial interview, when I interviewed you, that wasn't going to be possible. I told you when we did the initial service, that wasn't going to be possible. You called me last month and I told you it wasn't. Now you want to continue to do this. I said, I'm going to refund you your money and I'm going to cancel your contract because I'm not going to keep on. We've had 7 conversations, and for an $89 service that you can't even afford. And this is where I realized this is not my customer, because traditionally a year ago I was charging $129 for that. What do I've learned about pricing? That if I drop the price to meet market demand, I will end up with 80% of people that just want an instant solution. Once they get the relief, they fire you, and then we end up having to do twice the work for somebody. When if I go to a rich guy's house and I say, this is $400 a month, he says, when can you start? Here's my card, and it's a done deal. But the guy that doesn't have the money, that wants to get things done, has to negotiate everything and feels he has to get more value and has to get the upper hand and has to be unreasonable. And I can't make him happy. So I finally said, look, I'm going to refund you the money. We're going to cancel the contract. And he said, no, you don't have to get that way. I'm a nice person and this and that. I said, yeah, but I've already had these conversations and I don't need the stress. I don't need to keep going through this with you for an $89 service. It's just not worth my time. Well, he says, well, let's just keep it the way it is. I said, okay, but understand, if you call me again with the same issue, I'm canceling your contract. I can't help you. I'm not a customer service agent that sits there and says, I am so sorry for your experience, Mr. Customer. Let me talk to my manager and see what we can do to satisfy you. No, in the sales process, I already told you what to expect. I was clear. I was honest. I was transparent. You can either afford it or you can't. This is a luxury service. So the moment your weeds are gone, you're going to call and cancel. I just had another guy do that. We solved his problem and for 3 months, and then he canceled. That's fine. When he calls me back next time, it's going to be the price discount I get him is no longer available. This is what we do as small companies that are boutique, that are specialized. I talk to people all the time. I say, why are you selling your services for less than market price to appease a customer that wants to beat you up simply because you're small and because he feels impotent and incompetent to go up against a large brand? And tell them that. Go to AT&T and say, no, I'll tell you what, I'll sign the contract, but next month, when I don't feel like having your internet because a cheaper deal comes along, I want to cancel it. They're going to say, yeah, there's a $250 cancellation fee. We don't care if you give us a bad review. We're AT&T, and we're going to stick it to you, and you're going to go to collections, and we don't care. Here I am, a small local company, providing high value, high service to you, giving you what you want, and you have to continuously beat me up about everything because the large brands, what you went to, will never allow it. They could care less. And then you want to get so much out of me. You want to squeeze me because you feel you can, because I'm a small company. What that tells me about that client is that that's not the client I want, because that client is always going to do that. You cannot change the MO of people. You cannot rewire people. We're not psychologists. We're not therapists. We're not public servants. We are small business owners trying to make a living, providing high value, high quality, high service, higher than you're going to get at any national brand for sure. And then on top of that, you're asking me to beat the price. What I always tell people, I just had 5 last week telling me, hey, but your price is outrageous. I said, no, you asked for this. You went out of your way to find me, because understand that I only do SEO. So you're looking for something very specific that you went out of your way, that you didn't want everything else. I explained to you what the value proposition was. You said you liked it. And what you want is me to match the price. And I already told you I was the most expensive company. If you're looking at price shopping, you can forget about price shopping. It isn't going to work with me. Okay. And then what do they end up doing in the end? They signed the contract because they couldn't get it anywhere else. They know they can't. So why do I feel I have to drop my price? I don't feel I have to drop my price. I never feel guilty about my price. When I used to sell 20 and $30,000 products, I didn't buy it in Adelash. When you got a $4 million home, $599 initial isn't nothing. So I don't care. When you want to buy $5,000 pair of golf clubs, you buy them. When you want to buy that Bentley, you buy it. This is the conversation I was having with Will about, why do companies feel that they need to play this game when the company went out of their way to find you? Understand that if you're a small little business on the internet, there's 20 giants around you. Somebody went out of their way to find you because they wanted what you were offering. If you're asking for a unique service, you're asking for personalized service, you want to deal with the owner. See, I don't care if I have 10 employees. Chances are they'll still be dealing with me as an owner. They're not going to be calling a call center in South America or it's somewhere in the Philippines or in India where everybody's transferring their calls. You're going to be dealing with a local guy. You're going to be dealing with me. I'm always going to respond. And if anything goes wrong, I'm going to be the first guy on site saying, we got to fix this, or we should have never done this. And these are the things that understand as a small business owner. Why do you compromise yourself? You do things out of desperation, but you need to learn sales. You need to learn management. You need to learn marketing. You need to learn self-confidence. What I find is when I did a lot of assessments with people coming to work for me, what I found the number one thing was low self-esteem. That is the number one thing that I keep finding in assessments is people with low self-esteem. You need to know your value. You need to know your worth. The fact that you went into business, you're in the elite 20% of the population that ever tries. If you can stay in business for more than a year, you beat the odds. If you can stay in business for more than 5 years, you beat the odds. If you stayed in business for more than 15 years, you've beaten all the odds. And it says something about your persistence, your tenacity, your perseverance, your character, the things you have to do to stay in business. Don't sell yourself short. The fact that you're not able to grow, scale, that's another matter, because that has to do with skills you have to acquire that you haven't yet acquired. The faster you can acquire sales and marketing skills, the better for you. If you have to take a door-to-door sales course, you will learn so much from a door-to-door sales course. I'm going to take one because I want to take it because I want to teach it, and I want to teach my people how to do door-to-door, at least cloverleaf door-to-door sales. See, you can implement door-to-door any way you want to. You can be, I'm an advisor. I've always been a customer service rep. I've been a sales representative at companies. Why? Because my role is really an advisory role. I'm a consultative salesperson. I'm not high pressure. I've never been that way. I'm not aggressive. I simply show up to your door and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Would you be interested in knowing more about it? No, okay, thank you. Next person. I don't waste my time with people. A quick no is better than a maybe. I don't like maybes. I used to tell people when I did the in-home sales and I was selling $20,000 decks, listen, I'm not going to buy tonight. I'm not going to be pressured. I said, look, I'm not going to pressure you. I'm going to present to you our product. My product is going to be the most expensive product on the market. And at the end of the day, I'm going to do my job as a salesperson. I'm going to ask you to buy. You can say, no, I'm a big boy and I can take it. What I don't want is I want to think about it. I don't want to maybe. I don't want to have to talk to my wife because your wife is already here. I don't want any excuses. I want you to tell me a yes or a no. And I'll be happy with either. And I'll pick up my suitcase and I'll walk out of your house and I'm not going to give you grief. But I just want honesty. And that would disarm them automatically and say, okay, let me listen to what you have. You see, and I can enjoy my sales presentation, which I used to love doing. Because I love talking about our product. I love talking about our capabilities. That's what I sell. And this is what a lot of people in door-to-door miss, that they despise the tactic without figuring out how they can bring their personality into it. They don't have to become a drone. Those are the things that I'm looking at, folks, that I see constantly. Um, I said, the fact is that they were doing marketing, and I was talking to Will about this, and I said, thank you, Will, for the cigar again. This means a lot, brother. You could have shown up with a $6 cigar, and I would have been happy. I know this was expensive. Um, I know what this costs. And you didn't have to do it. I'm never into. I'm not bougie, man. I could sit with somebody. Okay, I won't drink a Budweiser with you, but I can drink a beer. I can have a cheap bottle of wine. I can do something else. We can have scrambled eggs and ham, and I'm happy. I'm not, that guy. So thank you. He not only one, he gave me 2 cigars. I got the other one at home, and he brought me 2. But I was sitting in him and says, here's why the marketing fails, and a lot of the time the marketing fails, and people don't get it. Understand that customers are being bombarded with 50,000 marketing pieces a day. Okay, I sat there and I said, look around you, how many signs there are trying to sell you something just where we're standing. We counted at least 20. The key to selling and the key to marketing and the key is that there has to be a need. The timing is everything. There's a need or a want. There's the ability to pay for it and the willingness to pay for it. They're not the same thing. A lot of people have the ability to pay for it. They're not willing to pay. A lot of people are willing to pay. They just don't have the money. And what the brain is being bombarded with so many information on a monthly basis. Okay. That on a daily basis, 50,000, the brain has to literally shut itself off from all that. So when your marketing is ineffective, understand that you're not ineffective. Your marketing is not ineffective all the time. Is that you didn't reach the person that had a need or a want, a willingness to pay and a desire to pay at the time that marketing piece came out. You don't have enough of it. But literally, the brain shuts itself off to everything it doesn't need. Because if not, the brain would overwire itself and go insane. Notice that if you're looking to buy a red Audi 5 Series, all of a sudden you start seeing red Audi 5 Series everywhere. This is also a law in the law of attraction. If I am looking right now to buy, like I said, I'm looking to buy a route in Gainesville, and I'm focused on buying a route in Gainesville, and I put out enough messages on Facebook to buy a route in Gainesville, and I pick up the phone and I start calling independent operators and say, hey, look, you only have one route. Have you ever thought about selling? Now I see opportunities everywhere. When I'm shut down to those opportunities, I can only look at so many opportunities at a time. My brain can only process so many things at a time. So when you're doing postcards, do they work? Yes. But you still have to do about 13 of them over every 2 weeks. It won't work once a month. It's every 2 weeks to about 1,000 people, and then you will pick up one, because there's going to be a need or a want, an opportunity, and they're going to be, oh, this company keeps showing up. Now, think about this in marketing. If you do the GMB in a local area and you decide to send out 5,000 postcards every 2 weeks, which will be about, $5,000. I'm talking real numbers. And then you decide to run Facebook ads, Facebook leads, and then you decide to run Facebook retargeting ads, and then you run some local ads on the LSA, and then you run some ads for GPP, okay, and you target it all within 3 to 5 miles of you. It's going to be about a year's worth of investment for you to start seeing a real ROI. But if you don't do that, you don't stand a chance against the big companies if you're doing marketing. Why? Because you're hitting these people every time they turn around and they went online and they searched, they found you locally. Then they clicked on your website, and all of a sudden the retargeting ads hit them on Facebook. Then all of a sudden they get a targeted ad on Facebook. All of a sudden they see your truck running by because now they have you in their site. But they're not ready to make a decision yet because they're shopping around. They're price shoppers. You're not going to get an automatic response from that. This is why, because it isn't until there's a need or a want online that people start looking, because people don't talk to their neighbors. The company that can do referral business alone is usually not in a major market. If you're in a major market, that's not going to happen. I've already proven that. And I prove it by talking to people all the time. I keep asking the same pointed questions over and over. I sound like a broken record. You see, so to compete and to get online marketing to work and to get any marketing to work, it's about repetition and time and money and patience. And what happens is you run out of money because you did all of that out of desperation. You bought the marketing program that the agency sold you. You bought the Yelp. You bought the Angie's List, hoping it's a magic bullet, and you buy it out of desperation. And no, it's about. So now what am I doing? I'm doing 7 social media channels per day, 1 video per day, and now we're going to crank it up to 5 videos a day on social media. Then we're going to take those videos that we take the data back and say, okay, this video that we did this short, in 1 day it got 4,000 views. So we're going to run this video on our YouTube ad, because that video gets local traction because people liked it. So I get the data back. It took me a year to get data back and figure out where our top 10 videos are, so I can run ads against the videos. Okay. Then I will start doing Instagram and Facebook retargeting ads. And then, we're going to expand our ad campaign for our target keywords, which are low price keywords, but they're very exclusive that nobody's targeting. That allows me to get the maximum amount of clicks, which gets signals, but also gives me a very low cost of acquisition, even though it might only produce 2 calls a month, but I only spend $50 on it. I'm going to do LSA ads now when I start doing termite next month, because we're going to go into the summer and I want to be able to do termites. And once I sell a $15,000 to $3,000 job, I don't mind paying $120, which is going to cost me for an LSA call. I don't mind that. We're targeting only the high priced areas, because I'm not wasting my time on the low priced areas. I want to go where the money is. So the people that had the opportunity, the willingness to pay, and the ability to pay, and I win 3 times. It's slower. It's not as broad. I'm not taking a shotgun approach because I don't have the money for shotgun yet. I have to be really strategic with a knife, like a surgeon, and cut this very carefully. That's what I do. So now this is what we're gearing up to do. Now I got an in-house agency that we can run ads, we can do social media, we can do this, and I don't have to depend on an outside source to milk me $1,000 a month to run 2 campaigns. And then where does my ad budget go? I don't have the ad budget. So, I don't know if anybody's got any questions. I see there's a lot of people online right now. You got any questions for me? I'll just, sit here, answer your questions. Just ask me here on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you're at. Just ask me the question. I'll try to answer it. And hang out with you folks. I've been on 43 minutes talking with a cigar in my mouth. But that's what's been going on, folks. One hell of a week. But, hey, long ashes to you all. This is awesome. Let's see here. I'm on. Yeah. So anybody on Facebook, man, let me see who's on Facebook watching. I guess somebody's there. Hey, Gustavo. Hey, Gus in New York. How you doing, brother? Gus is in he was in my SEO class. He implemented a lot of things that I taught him. Things started working, turning around for him. By the way, it's a private SEO group. It's only available for those that take my SEO class and are serious about SEO. I don't want everybody in that group sharing my stuff. If you're not serious, if you just want to toss it around and maybe try to learn. I was talking to a comment with me and says, yeah, those are asshole people who always ask questions, never bid to anything, never do anything, and they just want free information all the time. But I don't have that amount of time, so this is the free information I give you. The best I can do on this podcast, give you the real deal, be the real person, and not try to you know, if all of a sudden you eat a little rainbow and you're a purple unicorn, you're gonna crap out butterflies. Um, that's not the real game. That's not the real deal. That's not what running a business is really about. It's not about people that, oh, I started from nothing and I made it to a multi-zillionaire in just 10 years. There's a lot behind that story that you don't get told behind the scenes. So I don't know. You got any questions? Let me see here. Never miss. Let me see. Am I not seeing your comments? Let's see. I'm gonna type this out. All right. I pull that out on Facebook. Let's see if it comes out. I'm testing this software too. I'm learning how to use it. This is good practice for me to be out here doing this um, in my spare time. Imagine that, a business owner that does a podcast and has spare time. What the hell is that? But yeah, folks, how you doing? I like the hat. The guy walked by and he's got a really cool hat. I got a cool hat. Um, yeah, I'm at this is a little cigar shop right next to me, and there's a coffee shop over here and a restaurant right there. And this is the little breezeway, but it's nice because it's a breezeway. The wind is blowing. My car wash. The car's getting washed while, you know, passenger princess does her nails, and you know, I'm glad it isn't the hair. The hair last week was hair day, and that was 8 hours on hair. Yeah, just know this, guys. If you ever see a woman out with highlights, this is one thing you're gonna know. She's gonna be high maintenance. So, good thing is she has her own money. That's the best thing, So I just drive her everywhere. I'm like driving Miss Daisy here, doing this. I don't know who else. Who else can I see? Let me see who else is. I don't know who's on Facebook, on YouTube. Let me see. I'm going to go on YouTube because I know some of you guys are there. It's telling me you're on YouTube, on 2 channels. Yeah, I'm live now on YouTube. I can see myself, and I got some people there. So you guys on YouTube, man, pest control questions. I'm going to answer while I wait for your questions. I'll go out on a limb. Tramp pants. I was in. It was funny because I was in Michigan, and Alan brings up tramp pants, and people should know what tramp pants are. Most people don't know. So then I was having a discussion with 2 ladies, and she said, "I don't know what tramp pants are. What the hell are tramp pants?" I said, "Well, tramp pants are ants that have very unique characteristics. The reason they're able to go around the world is because they're hitchhikers. They're known as tramp ants because they hitchhike, usually on ships, planes, anything that they can hitchhike on to move across the country. They usually have characteristics that allows them to survive anywhere. So basically, they're omnivorous ants. They're usually omnivorous. They'll eat proteins, carbs, sugars, oils, lipids, whatever. And they usually will multiply through budding. And they usually, when they get disturbed, then they will break up those nests and distribute it. Think of them as a terrorist network. Okay. Here in Florida, what are tramp ants? Ghost ants are tramp ants. Odorous house ants are tramp ants. Big-headed ant in Florida are tramp ants. We have, I think, like 5 tramp ant species here in Miami-Dade. I think 4 or 5. So that's what a tramp ant is, and what you should know about that. Can't post message to some of the channels. Okay, that's fine. So basically that's what it is. Cool shirt. Thank you, bro. These are little palms. My girl got me this shirt because she says I wear the same thing all the time. I mean, look, I'm really low low maintenance, man. I wear the same thing every day for years. I woke up with a black shirt and gray shorts, and I had 14 of them, so I didn't have to think about what I was going to wear because I work for my office and I don't see customers. And then when I go out, I wear the uniform. And then so she comes in the morning. I'm wearing the same clothes in the evening. I'm wearing the same clothes all week. So she buys me these little nice shirts, so that I can look different and look sexy for her. So thank you, Andre Brandt. Thank you for that, brother. Um, you got a question for me, bro? About anything that you burning questions? Like, what's my favorite cigar? This is a damn good cigar. You can't go wrong, bro, with a Padron cigar. Padron is consistent. That's one of the things I love about them. Padron doesn't care. I mean, when was the last time you saw an advertising on anywhere for Padron? Padron doesn't advertise. Padron is Padron. They have consistency in their product. They are high quality. They're pricey as hell. I don't think I can. The cheapest Padron I can buy is probably like that big for, I don't know, $16 here in Miami. Something like this, I don't know. This is probably in the 40 price, the $40 range. I doubt it's a $23 cigar. It's more than that usually. Um, so yeah, so this is what we need to be like. We need to be like Padron cigars. Consistent quality. We don't apologize for our pricing. We don't have to go out there and kick every door down to everybody to let us in. We're unique in what we do as small little companies. And I'm not talking about a solo operator. I'm talking about a company with 4 or 5, 10 technicians. That's what you need to do, is need to be the high quality company in your area. Build the best team that you can build. Hire the best people that you can hire. Charge the highest prices you can charge, and deliver on your promises. Nobody ever gets upset by paying for quality. You know, Women that have 27 purses that all cost $400. Jimmy shoes. I mean, I walk into a house and I see Jimmy shoes. Those things are minimum $800 a piece. And they're Jimmy shoe, not Jimmy shoes. They're Jimmy shoe, and they're Jimmy Choo shoes. I see that stuff and I'm like, okay, so you don't care what you spend your money on. I give you quality, I give you consistency, I give you service. Whenever you call, we're there. We don't give you excuses. That's what you're really wanting. That's what we sell. And so back this week, I raised my prices on some things again, because I noticed that when I drop the prices too much, so it's finding that balance of where that sweet spot is in pricing, where it is, finding your sweet spot. So I don't know if anybody, I've been here 52 minutes. I'm probably going to do, I don't know, I'll hang out. I got people here that are watching, wanting to know. You have burning questions, that don't involve an STD. You can answer. I don't know anything about that. So at this point, bro, I'm out. I'm out of material. I'm just making crap up as I go. You guys don't make it easy for me. But yeah, man, I enjoy the time that we spend here. I enjoy this. If you ever need consulting, understand I got very limited time, but I can do consulting for you, especially on startup consulting. You can do one session, do another session as you need it. I can probably take on maybe 5 people a month on consulting right now. The academy's up. I've got the new technician. By the way, let me plug it. The new technician course. If you're hiring a new technician and you don't have a course for them to get them started, it's free. It has about 16 lessons in it. It's about 13 hours of training, maybe a little bit more. It has quizzes. It's free. I'm giving it away. My SEO course, it's out there. I think it's $300. I can't even remember. I got my German Roach protocol course that I'm doing. I'm sharing what we do in our company with people. So if you don't have a Roach course, I'm going to be starting up doing local CEU courses, and we're going to do it on Saturdays. I won't be able to do stuff during the week, but a lot of people who can't, solo operators can't do anything during a production day, but we can get together maybe 2 hours a month. You get 2 CEUs and and things like that. And then throughout the year, you get them. And, I'm going to be doing them in Spanish too. If you're in South Florida, there's no Spanish CEUs available. I can do both. You're sending your people to English courses. They're sitting there. They're getting to see you, but they didn't learn anything, or all they got was a chemical presentation on how to use a product, which doesn't help them. Um, we're going to try to do a 1 day, me and Eric, a 1 day local marketing course. That it's going to be an 8 hour course. Because my SEO course that I did live, I did it live for 7 weeks, 7 hours on SEO alone, and that's for local SEO. That's for GMB, Google Business Profile stuff, how to do local service pages, things like that. I'm putting out stuff in our group on a weekly basis of things that I find that Google is telling you that you have to do. So that's available. But we're thinking of doing one. We might do it at like in Fort Lauderdale or West Palm, so that kind of like between West Palm and Miami, people can drive up for a 1 day course. We'll probably do it on a Saturday, 1 day course for marketing. It'll be the most extensive marketing course you'll ever take. I mean, this is 80% more than you probably want to know on how to do, on all the things you can do and how to do them correctly. And then if you decide this is for you to do, to integrate or bring it, do it a little bit at a time. The good thing it's holistic so that you can implement it, linking it to each other, and it's holistic and it's local and it's hyper local SEO and SEO and hyper local marketing that's working for us right now. And again, what I teach today, next year, could be totally worthless because the market changes so quickly. Um, a lot of people say, "Well, you said this, that you do this, and now you're saying you do that." Yeah, because things change. Um, you can't stick to something for 3 years sometimes, even though you want to. What's working, what's not right now. I'm going to give you access to that mastermind group. Also, if you know people in South Florida, that I'm starting a network, because we need to network together with other industries in order for us to be able to have an upper hand. And I'm willing to pay for referrals, and I'm trying to create a local group in South Florida of air conditioning people, plumbers, real estate, um, home inspectors, you window washing people who's heck, you might have a doggy washing business that you do washing. You notice the customer has fleas and ticks. Hey, give this guy a call. Your dog has ticks. Your dog has fleas. Things like that. Trying to figure out how we network. How do we do it, and how do we do things together to get us to be more competitive together, and then maybe we can duplicate this in another market and help other people. So this is why we're the Service Geek podcast. Also, why am I the Service Geek? Well, first of all, I've always had a heart for serving people. It really comes down to that I'm a servant leader. I've served in my churches. I serve people. I serve my employees. I serve my customers. I serve my kids. At the end of the day, I serve my family. I'm a servant at heart. And what I do, we are in a service business. We're always served, no matter what we do. We're in the people business where we're serving people. We don't serve entities. Even if you're selling to corporate America, the relationship is built on you building relationships with people. We're service people. Okay. And so it's the Service Geek podcast now that's going to be transitioning from just pest control into other markets and other things, because I have been in service businesses my entire life. I prefer service business. I always had. I've had a distribution business. I had a pager business back in 80, what was it, 95. I had that before, cell phones. I had that. I've had a landscape business. I've got a pool cleaning business. I understand service businesses. And you don't always, what do you need help with? What do you need to understand? That we can get a group together of people like-minded, that are servant people, that just not aren't interested in being the biggest, the baddest, and just basically using everybody, but honestly working together to help other people. So that's what I'm about. That's what I've been doing this whole time. Um, I'm looking at the next 15 years of my life. I want to grow my company, eventually probably sell it, or seeing if one of my kids ever want to get into this business, and then I get into more consulting and training, which is my real passion. And I'm an advisor at heart. Um, I'm a pastor at heart. Um, that's who I am. And I can't change how God wired me as much as other people would want me to change and want me to do things differently. I got to do what makes me happy at the end of the day. spending here, having a cigar, drinking a coffee, being on a laptop, talking to it for an hour, going on a class, teaching an hour class, doing a CEU course, um, preaching at a church and bringing the gospel message, teaching at a church. Those are the things that make me happy. It is not the money. The money is a result of things I worked really hard at, that I've cared about and I've nurtured, and therefore it produces an income. But if you ask me if I could, what would make me happy? Um, Probably being a youth pastor again, dealing with young people, um, pastoring. That's what would make me happy if I didn't have to work. But I refuse to take a salary from a church. Therefore, God has to provide it. I refuse to take a salary from the people that are giving me their hard-earned money, um, to an organization, and then we would have to be really about outreach. I'd never take over a church or pastor a church or start a church without being focused on outreach and giving back to the community, and somehow giving food away to the hungry, medical care to the needy. Um, at the end of the day, you could call me a bleeding heart Republican. Call it whatever you want. Um, I care for people. This is why it's hard for me to do a lot of things, because I can't just look at the money. We got hard decisions to make. Had a conversation with Eric about we got to make some difficult decisions. I don't want to cut any of the things that I do for you and the pricing and all that. But at the end of the day, our ROI isn't there right now, and we need to change what we do. We need to pivot. And unfortunately, that's the market, and that's being in business. And those are the hard decisions that business owners have to make. When I cancel a subscription to an app, it doesn't really bother me, because I don't see it as, well, this is a mega company who has VC investment, has tons of money. They've gone through recruitment stages to get where they're at. It doesn't hurt me that I cancel a subscription to a $49 or $200 service. It's no skin off my back. It doesn't bother me at all. When there's a personal relationship and I got to tell you, listen, I can't afford you anymore, or I can't afford to do this. We're going to have to do this now. Can you do it? Can you transition? Can you work with me so that I don't have to cut your legs? Because I have no choice. The economy's bad. I got to admit, we're still holding our own. We're still growing a little bit. The investments I made 3 months ago are now paying off. This is where I talk to people about patience, that your ROI isn't going to be there. I already know that with SEO and a lot of the marketing I'm doing, the ROI isn't going to start paying me and getting the calls in and producing the income for at least 90 days. And I'm prepared to make those investments. We got to invest in a brand new site that's going to cost $5,000-$6,000 to build out initially, and the ROI won't be there for a year. And we're working on our relationships and our connections to get some contracts, and they fall on my lap sometimes. And people acknowledge the work that I've done, and they've seen my integrity, they've seen my consistency. The only thing you can say about me is that at least I'm still here. I'm still doing the same thing, saying the same thing. Nothing changes. Nothing is new under the sun. It's just that you need to hear it again, and you need to hear it again. And some people just need to hear it and get validated. Some people a year from now is going to hear this message and get encouraged by it and go start up. So I never know the impact I'm making in the world, that I'm making in people's lives, how I'm enriching people's lives, and I won't know a lot of this until I get to heaven. I won't know what my true contribution to society was until I die and get to heaven. Some people will forget me immediately. What legacy do I leave behind? There's in a movie called, I think I was told this, I forgot who told it to me this week. I'm sorry. The movie Troy, and there's a scene in the movie says, this is why you will not be remembered. And I want to be remembered for the good I did in the world. At the end of the day, that's what motivates me. That's what drives me. Is that what drives me isn't money. What drives me isn't success. It isn't growth. At the end of the day, I want my kids to say, yeah, he showed us how to be successful and he paved the way for us. But at the end of the day, he was a darn good dad. He was always there. For my wife to say, yeah, he was caring and loving and he was always there. Those are the things that I want to be remembered by my friends, that say whenever I needed him, he was there. I've never asked a penny. I was just having a conversation with Joel last night. We were going to go out on his boat. Joel and I met like 4 or 5 years ago when he was starting up and he had an ant problem and he couldn't solve it. He couldn't solve it. He couldn't solve it. He couldn't solve it. He reached out to me, not knowing who I was, and I said, "Bro, let's do this. Um, next week I got a little bit of time on my hands. I'll drive up to that house with you. We'll take a look at that ant problem. I'll tell you where you're failing." And I did. I drove 50 miles to go meet him. Didn't ask him for a penny. He'll tell you the testimony. I never asked him for anything. I just wanted to help him because he was starting up. He was hurting. He was frustrated with his house. He followed what I told him. Yes, it did take him 3 months to solve it because of the ant problem, the way that ant behaves. But he solved it, and then he learned to solve it from that point on, and we became great friends. I've been to his wedding. I've been to his kid's birthday. He invited me out on his boat. Ermi pinched a nerve in her neck. There's no way she's going to be on a boat jumping up and down. She won't be able to function. Today we might take her to urgent care. And, we talk every day, and we challenge each other every day. What's good about him, he's done more in 4 years to grow his business than I've done in the last 10. And I'm happy about that. Every day we talk. Every day he challenges me on some stuff. I challenge him on some stuff because he's great at certain things that I'm suck at. And I am great at certain things he sucks at. And, those are the friendships. So he drives, like 2 weeks later, he says, "Hey, bro, are you home?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I'm home. Why?" And he says, "Bro, I'm going to drive over there and I'm taking some cigars for you." So his payment to me was 4 cigars. Hey, bro, I take it. I'll take cigars as payment any day of the week. I don't care if you send me a $5 cigar or a $50 cigar. I will be eternally thankful, and I will praise you on the air. I will plug you. I'll give you a backlink. I'll do whatever I have to, because one of the things that I've learned in this world, and it's called the law of reciprocity. Jesus called it the law of sowing and reaping. It's the same thing. He says, if you give and you give abundantly more than you can, and you give it abundantly that you cannot, then you cannot give anymore. God is going to fill you up so much. And usually the Bible says he isn't filling you up financially. It says he will fill you up in here. Those are the things that God says he will do for you. And then on top of that comes the relationships and the things. But so many people are afraid to give because, oh man, I've done this. It took me 15 years to learn this, and I'm not going to give my talent away. Fine, I'll do it. I don't care. This is why I'm in a private group. Help Roaches Are Invading. I forgot it. This is Christian Allen's group. Great guy. Who I met personally. We went up to Tampa. I met him. Great kid. He's doing great. He's doing way better than I ever did starting up. And I said, dude, I'm going to go on your group, and on a weekly basis, I'm going to give some free advice to these homeowners on how to solve their roach problem. And I'll invest an hour in them. 30 minutes, really, what I invest on a weekly basis on that group. And then he has another DIY group. I'm going to go in and start investing in people. Because why? Most of the people there are in foreign countries. Some of the people are in Africa. They can't solve that roach problem. Some people don't even have access to the. If I told them all the products to use, like gel bait only, and gave them the answer, they still couldn't solve it because they don't have access to the product. We want to offer hope in the world. I want to be the change in the world that I want to see. So if you say there, I won't give away my advice or my knowledge because people are going to know it and they're going to do it themselves. Guess what? Those people are my customers are rich people. They're in the top 10% of the money makers. They're making over $150,000 a year, $250,000 gross household income. The rest of the people, I'll give it away for free because they're never going to afford me anyway. So, Zig Ziglar said it this way. If you give enough people in the world what they want, eventually you will have what you want. I want admiration. I want love. I want kindness. I want respect from people. And respect doesn't bother me too much because I earned that. But admiration, those are the drivers. You say, but that's kind of a little self-centered and selfish. Yeah, but at least I'm being honest about it and telling you why I'm doing it versus you hoarding your talent, not giving it away. The only thing you can give away to God really is the most important thing you have is your time because it's limited on earth. Once I give away this hour, I will never get this hour back. Never. I'll never get 15 minutes back of counseling that I give to somebody. I will never get any of that back, except in gratitude, an eternal gratitude when I get to heaven, where you get into heaven and you hear Jesus says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That's really all I want to hear. At the end of my days, that's what I want to hear. Well done, good and faithful servant. In the least of these you were faithful, I will put you in greater things. There are people out there that I've been having conversations with who feel that they should have been paid $70,000 a year for working for a company, and they were never appreciated. But they never went out and upgraded their skills. And instead, they're still hurt about that today. I never want any of my people that work for me to ever feel hurt that I couldn't pay them what they wanted. Some of it is outrageous. You're never going to make $100,000 with me with 2 employees. But my tech right now, like I said, he's on route to make 70 something thousand this year on 40 hours a week, no weekends. He comes in when he wants to. He leaves when he wants to. As long as the route gets done, I don't care. I'll work everything around him and his family. He called me. He says, "Hey, bro, on Monday, can you not put so many stops? Maybe only 2 to 3. Put the extra stops on Thursday. I will work extra long. I need to take my sister to immigration." I said, "Fine, done." It's no skin off my back to move and tell a client, "Hey, sorry, I got to move you because my technician needs the time to do something for his sister," when he's willing to work it, on Thursday and spread it out during the week. It's no skin off my back to reschedule all that and inconvenience myself to help him. Because at the end of the day, he's a darn good employee. I can't complain. So, again, those are the things, folks, that matter to me. That if you ask me what makes me get up in the morning, it's hope. That I haven't lost hope that I can make a difference in the world, that I can change things for people. I can't change it for everybody. I can't change it for the guy that says, "I don't want to grow." The scripture says, "Look at a man skilled in his work, and he will not stand before mere men. He will stand before kings." When you focus on being the best, it doesn't matter who appreciates it right now. Somebody will appreciate you for it. It just might not be now. The problem with this society and generation is that I want it now. I invested in taking that certificate. You didn't give me the raise. Well, guess what? You're with the wrong person. If a lot of people were bitter that they gave 5 years of their life, 5 years, 10 years, 18 years of their life. The writing was on the wall on year 1 that you were never going to be appreciated. Why did you stick with that company? The church I was at, I saw the writing on the wall. They were never going to appreciate me, never going to give me a raise, never going to recognize the 60 hours I was putting in, getting paid 40, that I was loving to do. And I saw the writing on the wall, and I said, "Look, you're not being fair here." And my buddy Eric decided he's going to stay with them for another 18 years, 12 years, and got totally screwed. And then it hurts. By year number 1, if you didn't get the raise, if they're not raising their prices to give you a raise, because my raises to my people are automatic. Believe it or not, they're automatic. They don't have to work for a raise. It's a merit raise, but if you're working for me and I raise my prices, then automatically raise for you. Because if you're making 18 to 20% production and I raise my prices every year, you automatically get a 5-7% raise. But you're working for people that will never raise their prices. You're asking them for a raise, even though they're asking you to do more. They're not giving you the raise. They're not giving you the recognition. They're not appreciating you, and you still choose to work for them. That says a lot about your self-esteem, and you need to overcome that. You need to quit that company, go work for somebody else that's going to appreciate you. Insisting that people change. Insisting people change their character. You don't have time for people to change their character. Listen, as an employer, you don't have time for your employees to change their character. They either have character, they have the right character, they have the right soft skills, or they don't. As Dennis Kucha of Wise House Environmental says, you can't teach integrity and you can't pay for it. You can't buy it. Integrity is something you can, people either have it or they don't. You don't have the time for your boss to get integrity. Time is too short. At the end of the day, when somebody has to fire you, lay you off because the business isn't doing what they're going to do it. When I have to do it, I have to do it. That's part of being in business, and I realize that it hurts, but it's part of being in business. So you go get those certificates. You go get an ACE if you want to, and prove to yourself that you're the most knowledgeable guy. And guess what? And if nobody pays you for that ACE certificate, at least you know that one day you're going to stand before kings and you're going to be greater. You might be the next technical director at a small company. Go learn management. Go learn sales. Take a sales course. Pay for it yourself. My company doesn't invest in me. Your company isn't worth a dime. Like I said, I offered my tech. I said, bro, you've been already with me 3 years. You qualify. I want you to become a certified operator. My other guy that I'm looking to work with, he's got about a year he will have to make up because he has 17 years of experience. He'll have a year in Florida. And as soon as he gets his year, I'm giving him a certificate. I want him to be certified. I want people to have pride in their work. In order to have people pride in their work, they first have to have pride in their work. But then I have to recognize that pride in their work, that I appreciate them, that I want them to strive for more. I want everyone in my company, no matter who they work, who it is, to make at least $50,000 a year. That's the goal I've set. I don't care if you're a CSR. I don't care if you're a salesperson. I don't care if you're my media person. I want everyone that works for me to eventually just make $50,000 a year. That's higher than any other company. Well, that isn't enough. I would never work for you. I said, I can't help you, bro, because you got 17 years of experience doing specialty work. I'm not looking at hiring you. I'm looking at hiring a person that has never done it, grooming them, and rewarding them for sticking with me during the hard times. And then in the good times, you get rewarded. It's bear and pay. It doesn't matter how long you've been here. I want you to earn it. I want you to advance from a Tech 1 to a Tech 2 to a Tech 3. And if being a Tech 2 is your sky limit, understand that it's going to be a limit how much you're going to make because there's only so much you can take on. There's so many customers I can add to that route. But understand that you will still get a raise because every year I raise my prices. And you get merit bonuses and things like that. So, set goals for yourself and for your company that are reachable, but some of these goals might take you 5 years. It's not impossible. It's just you can't have it now. Set a goal that you're going to be in the next 5 years, you're going to be an ace. Set a goal that in the next 2 years, you're going to be a certified operator somewhere. Set a goal that you're going to learn termite, that you're going to learn a new skill. Set new goals in your life, regardless of if you look at the company you work for and saying they won't appreciate it. I'm telling you, you're at the wrong company. Do it for yourself. Feel good about yourself that you accomplished it. Tell your kids, I tell my kids all the time, you need to do better and you need to learn more. And well, why don't you apply it? My kids see me studying all the time. My kids see me, my daughter's like, you're always learning something new. And she goes, dealing with you is like dealing with Google. My daughter is impressed by me. That's the biggest compliment I could ever have. Go show your kids that at 53 years old, you went and got a certification that only 1,200 people in the world have. That you went out and got that termite certificate at 40, at 50. Go, the biggest example, the biggest thing you can do is always to show your kids how you're striving for more. Therefore, they can't come to you with BS excuses. Well, look at you. You don't do any better. You're not doing anything new. Because they will. They're thinking that, you work a job, but understand that job puts food on the table. I had to remind my son that the room he has is because I pay for that. That the phone, the thing he has, the computer, the after school program, the tutoring that I pay for is because I make the money. and he doesn't deserve anything because he hasn't earned it. I pay for it. And he's going to be 18. He's 10 years old in 8 years. I remind him that you're going to be 18. And then when that happens, guess what? You better have figured it out as a man. Because I'm raising you to be a man. And the reason you have chores and the reason you have responsibilities is I'm trying to teach you responsibility. Because work ethic and character is a home job. It doesn't take a village, bullshit. It doesn't take your teacher. It's not the school's responsibility to teach your kid character. It's your responsibility. And if you've been an absent father, and what we have in America today, if we have a bunch of kids that don't understand work ethic, it's because we have a bunch of parents that didn't teach them work ethic, didn't hold them accountable to learn to work. He takes out the trash every day. He blows out the backyard. He scoops the poop out of the cat litter. He changes the pads. He does his homework. He goes in and does his IXL training that he has to do to keep his math score up. And then after that, he can go play. He can go outside, do whatever he wants to do. But until the chores get done, the homework gets done, and the responsibilities you have here get done, you don't get to go anywhere. And I make it clear that I don't owe you crap. I let my kids know I don't owe you crap. I owe you to give you an opportunity so that you have every opportunity that I didn't have. Because I didn't have a father, and I remind you, I didn't have a father coming up. I had to figure it out. You don't have to try to figure it out. That's why I'm here, to help you. But understand that if you resent that, you're going to hurt yourself, and you're not going to be a man. Because I guess what? When you get fired from your first job and nobody will hire you because you have no character, that's on you, because I did not teach you that. So understand you might not like it right now because you're 10, but understand you're going to remember this the rest of your life. So understand that we're complaining about kids that can go work 18 hours and go. I'm not complaining about kids that are smart and education. I'm a big fan of education. People think, well, Frank, is against education and against degrees. I'm not against education, and I'm not against degrees. I'm against the way it's sold, telling you that you cannot be successful unless you have a degree. My daughter, she wants to be a chemical engineer, a medical chemical engineer. That's what she wants. She's 14. That's what I want to be, Dad. That's what I want to do. I said, okay, great. Let's go and start looking at internships before you're 18, before you graduate, where you can get into these companies and learn what that's about. I said, she's got a 4-year paid college right now. Let's get you some scholarships, and let's get you this. My daughter has an enormous amount of work ethic. I want you to come work for me next year. And I'm going to pay you, and I'm going to pay for your car, and I'm going to pay for your insurance, because you would not be able to afford that on your own. But I want you to work for me. And I want you to have this, and I want you to have that. Why? Because I told her, I said, if you want to be a chemical engineer, I don't want you to get a bachelor's degree. I want you to go all the way and get a PhD. Because that's where you're going to get the respect. That's where you're going to make the money. And if I have to pay for that PhD myself so that you're not in debt when you get out, I'll pay for it. If you want to go all the way. My son is 10 years old and lazy as hell. And I got to push him. And I'm going to push him. And at the end of the day, look, you're either going to come work for me, you're going to go learn a skill, but you're not going to go work at a dead-end job. If you want to spend the next 8 years till you're 28 figuring out who you are as a person, and then complain about how the world doesn't give you respect and how every job doesn't pay you a living wage because you were a lazy ass and you didn't want to go work for me and you didn't want to go earn a degree and you didn't want to go learn a skill that you can do something with, that's on you, bro. That's not on me. Because not every kid is going to grow up to be a lawyer, a biologist. I don't care if he's an air conditioning tech. Just be the best damn air conditioning tech you can be. Have integrity and learn a skill and be that person that you need to be successful. I don't measure success by how much money you make, but I'm telling you, kid, if the way the world is going, you better learn a skill. I don't care if you want to be a prompt engineer Because if you go online tomorrow and you say, Dad, I learned how to do prompt engineering and I can make $150,000 a year for companies doing prompt engineering, I'll be proud as hell of you. That's all you do. Because you got an education. I don't care how you got it. I don't care that you learned a skill on your own. I mean, I had a guy working for me that had 15 jobs. He didn't know what he wanted to be in life. But he learned how to be an appliance repair person, appliance repair man, by watching YouTube videos. And he went out and worked for a company, working repairs. But the promises never came through. The guy said, I'm going to give you a percentage. And then turned out he paid him like $8 an hour, something ridiculous. So if you can go out and you can online learn something, you can go take a door-to-door sales course and become a door-to-door salesperson selling solar, making $100,000 a year. Have at it, kid. I'll be proud of you. I don't want you to have so many opportunities that you don't know what to do with. I want to provide all the opportunities I never had as a father so that you can be a useful, productive member of society. I'm teaching them how to be a man and what it's like to be a man. I had to figure out what it was like to be a man. I'm going to tell you a story. My father died when I was 5, raised by a single mom in Jersey. The 3 role models that I had in my life, my uncle hung himself at a factory when I was 18. The other guy I had around me was a drug dealer. The guy that my mother was dating was an alcoholic and verbally abusive. And I had to learn how to ignore all that and say, that's not who I want to be. I had to have enough self-assurance and self-confidence in myself that that's not what I want to be. My son has a good example of what a man is like. Because today men have been emasculated and feminized to death. And they have no idea what it's like to be a man. You have a bunch of kids that are 28 years old with no father in their life. And that's why I became a youth pastor. You're starting to see the pattern of why I do what I do. So my kids can't say you're never there, because I'm at every recital. I'm at every parent-teacher conference. I'm there when they need help with the homework. I just took my kid to soccer. I hate soccer. I hate sitting out. I've got chronic fatigue syndrome that hasn't been diagnosed, and I'm on medication but if I go out in the sun for 2 hours, I will have body ache, pain. I will be in bed the next day for 2 days. That's why I'm not in the field. That's why you see me in the shade with a hat and a cool breeze, even though it's hot out here, because I can no longer pull that off. So I have to make it work. I have to learn how to do it. And I tell my son, look, I want you to be, you see the example? This is what being a man is. You take responsibility. You learn to provide, because the Bible says that a man that doesn't provide for his household is worse than an infidel. So this bullshit about we're going to live together and it's 50-50, and we're going to go out to dinner and it's 50-50, and that's bullshit. You go out, you pay for the meal. You make yourself responsible that you can earn a career and make the money, so that even if she can't work and doesn't want to work, that's her prerogative, you can still support a family. So you better figure out what you're going to do, because at 8 years old, I'm starting to get into his head. You see, this home that I have, the cars, this happens because I paid for it and I had to learn to do it myself. I can make life easier for you. I'm just not going to make it easy. That you don't step up to the plate and take on responsibilities. This is what being a man is. This is what being a biblical man is. I'm sorry that you get offended. You don't like it. You'll disagree with me. You'll send me hate mail. You're going to tag me on this video and say I'm an idiot. I don't care. I'm raising my kid to be a biblical man with biblical values, not religious. That's what I'm raising him up to be. So those are the challenges of doing everything. You got to balance everything out. I got 17 balls in the air right now. I guarantee you one's going to drop. I'm going to drop an egg. So what? At the end of the day, what's important? What's a priority? You know, what's vital? What's urgent? And at the end of the day, I got to make choices all day long. And I got to make decisions all day long. And some of those decisions are good. Some of those decisions are bad. But at the end of the day, I made them. I'd rather make a decision than be indecisive. We meet, hey, bro, I want to do this, and let's do it. No, I can't do it right now. And because of this, I can't do it because we don't have the funds for it. Maybe in 6 months, revisit the idea with me and we'll talk about it again. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying no right now. The thing I had to learn how to get good at is say no, be candid. Because what I'm finding is I get surrounded by people sometimes that don't know how to say no. And they say yes, and then they don't do it. I said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. When I tell you no, I can't be part of that church thing, and I can't do this, and I can't take on more responsibility. Be gracious and accept my no. I don't owe you an explanation of why I have to say no. I owe you to be honest with you and say, right now, I can't do that. Let's talk about it again in 6 months, 3 months. Revisit, call me back. It won't happen. No, I'm not going to get involved with that. That's a definite no. And you got to get good at saying no. And we don't want to say no to people because we want people to like us. Part of being a biblical Christian is let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't lollygag and just be decisive. People know they can count on me. Like, I'm trying to remodel the rest of my house. Wifey's like, I want the bathroom. I said, right now, I don't have the mind frame and I'm investing too much money. The bathroom isn't going to happen. Forget about it. She might not like that answer, but that's the answer. I remodeled the downstairs. I remodeled the downstairs bathroom. The whole downstairs has new tile. Next thing I can do in the next year is the patio where we spend a lot of time in. I want to install the jacuzzi. We chose for a lesser grade that will maybe last a year on the remodel, where we put artificial turf until we can afford to put the pavers that I want, which are like $5,000. But it isn't going to happen this year. No. Because I refuse to allow people to pigeonhole me and, press me. I got about 30 minutes and then that car should be washed and she should be, she still has about another hour to pigeonhole me and say, yeah, but you got to do this and I don't have to do anything. The only thing I have to do in this world is die, because I don't even have to pay taxes. There's many ways you can figure out legally not to pay taxes. You can get a trust, put the business in a trust. You can keep investing every penny and not pay taxes on the profit. As an employee, you can go out and get an LLC, put your vehicle under the LLC, and write it off. There's a lot of things you can do to legally not pay taxes. But I got to die. And my years are limited. I got grays. I don't have a guarantee on tomorrow. So I tell people, no, all the time. I got good at it. Where I always was the person that told yes to everybody, and yes, and yes, and then I got overwhelmed, and then I couldn't do it, and then people are like, but you told me, man. No, now it's yes or no. I want a consulting with you, bro. I want 5 minutes of your time, bro. It's $159. I get people all the time. I want to call you and pick your brain on something. Look, if it's a quick question, shoot me a text. If I can answer it quick, yeah, but I can't guarantee you an hour of my time. I'm too busy. And as I get busier, the no's become more and the yeses become less. So I say yes to a few things in order so I can be committed to them, but I got to say no to about everything around me. That's just a reality. So I don't know if I'm helping anybody here, if I can help you, if I can do anything for you that's going to help you. Be better, be a better technician, be a better father, be a better employer. You know, what are the things you have to learn? And I'm sorry, I've learned them along the way. Why I have no hair, why I have a beard that's gray, it comes from a lot of stress. What did I learn? How to manage the stress better by saying no. When that customer, I already know that customer isn't going to buy because he's already asking for things that I'm never going to do. That's the time I say, listen, we're not for you. I wish you luck, and have a nice day. We're not going to continue this conversation. It's fruitless to waste another minute of my time on a client that isn't going to buy. Learn that you don't keep holding on to things that aren't going to work. I held on to a marriage 4 years longer than I should have because I wanted to try to save it. But I already knew it was done. Yet I still tried. I already learned when things aren't working, I shoot it in the head really quick. This is not working. This relationship is not working. I hired you. This is not working. I tell people, look, I'm going to take you out for 3 days so you can work with me, see if this is for you. But I need to know by the end of the week if it's for you, if you're going to show up. And if this isn't for you, you can't see yourself doing this long term, I'd rather know now. I don't hire anybody that needs a job. I hire people that want to do better. Not anybody. I had a guy call me, no, but I need a job, and you advertised the job. And I said, did you fill out the application? Did you fill out the resume? Did you do the video interview? No. I want to talk to you. I said, because I need a job. I said, that's right there. You're desperate, and I don't want you. I don't want to. I feel bad that you don't have a job, bro. And I have compassion, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be the best thing for me, and this is not going to be for you. Desperate people make desperate choices in the moment, and then they get to regret it, and everybody around them regrets it. You speak English? No. I can't work for me. Do you have papers? No. I will not pay you under the table. You can't work for me. It's that simple. I have experience spraying. Definitely can't work for me. I mean, I'm not gonna. The guys think that's a badge of honor, bro. I know how to mix chemicals in the tank and spray it. I said I can teach a monkey to do that. That's not what I need. You don't know what it's going to be like working for me. Did you bother to look up my company to see what I'm about before you applied for this job? No, you're not serious about learning anything. Because if you're really serious, I'm everywhere. And if you would have looked up my company, you would have seen I have 1,800 videos out there. I have a podcast. You're gonna have a heck of a time fooling me that you know something. Especially when I take you out in the field and I test you, you're gonna have a heck of a time. How you doing? So, that's it, folks. I think I'm going to see if that car's washed. I got to go run a couple of more errands for the princess that she wanted me to do. Yeah, I've dubbed her the princess now because she told me the other day, well, I want to be passenger princess. I don't want to drive. I don't want to do this. I don't want to, So basically I drive her everywhere now, especially on the weekends. So that's it, folks. This is where I'm at. Hey, man, I'm at minute 38. You guys suck. You don't ask any questions. I love you. I hope that you're absorbing. I know a lot of you are just absorbing this. A lot of you already know this, that what I'm telling you is the truth. You just sometimes need to talk it through. You can't talk it through with your friends. You can't talk it through with your family because nobody understands. 90% of people you're going to talk to about business don't get it, of what you're going through, because 90% of people have never owned a business. Actually, it's more like 95 have ever owned a business. They have no idea. Even if you talk to your wife and she sees what you're going through, she doesn't understand. Sometimes you need to talk it through. You need to talk it through with somebody. Find yourself a local friend that you can talk to that's going through it, how they're overcoming. A lot of the times, you need to just verbalize it so that it makes sense in your head, because I'm a verbal person. Like, she sees me there, like, who are you talking to? I'm all day long because I'm talking it through so that I can hear it to see if it makes sense. Some of you need to give yourself permission because nobody's going to listen. You ask your wife about starting a business, she's going to say no. You're done. You talk to them about doing something, going to say no. Sometimes you're going to say, guess what? I'm tired. I've done it. I've done this, and I need to um, give myself permission to do it, and I'm going to do it, and that's going to be the end of it. Um, you think things you need to do, you want to do, that you need to give yourself permission to do. So, like I said, there's my pesky group. You can always ask questions there about this podcast. You can drop a message in there. I try to answer it. I can always answer it in my weekly sessions that I'm doing. We switched it over from Mondays at 8 a.m. to Tuesdays at 3 p.m. And then my son had a change in schedule with his soccer and all this, and I had to take over. And now it's 4 p.m. because his soccer's I pick him up at 3 from school. By the time I get home, it's 3:45. I can do the podcast on Tuesdays, 3 p.m. But now it's going to be 4 p.m. because I got to do the soccer thing at 6. Again, you keep changing your times, man. I can't predict when you're going to be on, bro. Sorry to hear that, brother, but my family's going to come first. You're not paying for this. I'm doing it for you. Like, I don't know what to tell you, brother. Trophy yellow smiling. I don't know what that is. Whatever. You're gonna have to. You need to explain it to me, Andre. I love you guys. Hope you're doing well. I hope you have a wonderful week. Hope this helps you digest, and you're having fun doing what you're doing. It's not always going to be fun, but you can play a game with yourself every day. Tell yourself every day, this is the game I chose to play. Yes, I got my ass handed to me today by a linebacker that sideswiped me and I didn't see it. But oh well, I shake it off and next play. I mean, that's the secret really to making things, that you don't hold on to the grudges, that you make decisions quickly, and when things happen to you, you move quickly past it. And yes, you can have your moment of pouting and, say, you can lay in that field while your ribs hurt, but at one point you got to get back up and you got to decide, I'm going to play this game because this is the game I love. This is the game I chose. I'm going to play it. And there's going to come a day where I got to retire, or I got to play a new position, or I got to pivot. I'm not going to be able to play quarterback forever. So one day I'll probably be a coach. That's life. And that's where I've come to accept that I'm looking for my opportunities 10, 15 years down the line, preparing my platform so that I can have something in the future, because I'm not always going to be able to do pest control. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to sign off for now and end the stream. And I'm going to finish the rest of the cigar while I check on my car to see if it got washed, and go run a couple of errands for Princess, and go home, enjoy the rest of the day, which I was supposed to be out on a boat with Joel at the Air and Sea festival or something in Lauderdale, and we couldn't make it. Sorry, Joel. Thanks, bro. I love you. Always thankful for your encouragement, for being there. My buddy Jose Solano in New Jersey, who we talk a lot to. I don't talk to him as much as I like to. Dennis at Wise House Environmental in West Palm and Broward. Maria Sorrentino. I got to meet her partner, really cool guy, loving guy. Man, what a humble human being. Say hi to him for me. I thank him that he took the time to talk to me. I probably did most of the talking, but he was a good listener. He's probably tired of listening to me talk. Philly, up in Columbus. Hershey, I'm sorry, not Philly, Hershey, and his wife, who 2 years ago I couldn't have on the podcast. I was so ill. I couldn't bring on the podcast. Um, all the people that always check up on me, call me, hey bro, how you doing? You know, they don't call me to get anything out of me. They just want to know how I'm doing, and we build friendships. And I hope that I can do more for the people. Um, my friend who signed off for me so I can have my termite license. Eternally grateful for his generosity and help, and just willing to just do it without wanting anything back. Um, the people that make an impact in your life, be grateful, be thankful. Um, hey, Mr. Diaz, the Blue Pest Control in Cincinnati. Hey, I mean, I actually lived in Cincinnati. I lived on the other side of Cincinnati, in northern Kentucky, and I trained in Cincinnati when I used to work for U-Haul. I used to manage stores. So I know, so I love downtown Cincinnati. Wouldn't want to live there, but I love visiting. Being, being over the bridge. I love it. You want to be happy. Learn to be grateful every morning, every day, for everything. Paul said, be thankful in all things and for all things. Even when it's bad, be thankful. You can learn to have gratitude, and it will cleanse your heart and your soul from bitterness and anger. That boss that fired you, be thankful, because now you have another opportunity. The employee that quit, be thankful. All of your problems on a daily basis, be thankful. You know why? Because somewhere out there in the world, there's a person living in a cardboard box in Haiti somewhere, in a shelter made out of wood and metal, wishing they could have all the problems you have. There are people in Cuba right now that I know that are wishing they had all the problems I had. Um, I escaped from California, been in pest control for years, opened up my own company a year ago. All right, let me see. And I'm going out of here. I'm reading this out loud here, brother. I'm sorry. Show. Yeah, you want to show the? Nope, I want to show it. Yeah, I just can't go any lower on the screen. But yeah, man, congratulations on being your first year and anniversary. Um, Love it, brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely different than California, brother. Hope you're handling the winters well. Um, that was the first time I was in Columbus, and I was in Ohio. Worst winter they ever had in 20 years. Lucky me. I came from Florida, you know, um, and I was living in there with all the snow. So yeah, I know the Midwest well. Lived there 8 years. Traveled all over the Midwest as a salesperson, and I loved it. I love being there. It's just, man, be thankful. Um, Puts everything in perspective. The whole world is talking about gratitude. Jesus said it 2,000 years ago. In all things, give thanks. Come to me with thanksgiving in your heart. In your heart with praise. Cast all your cares upon me because I care for you. Caring and being able to do that. I do 90% commercial, a bit of residential. I'm just wondering. Can't mess it. Let me see here. Cancel that. Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. I did that just so I have to work. So I have work in the winter. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's awesome, bro. I'm so happy for you, man. Wow, 90% residential. Bet you have to do a lot of door knocking, and a lot of one-to-one sales, because it's hard to pick up commercial business unless you can do door to door. That's awesome. So yeah, man. If you're suffering from anxiety, um, come to me with prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. That is the cure for anxiety. Um, that is a lot of the issues we're having. Is just a lot of self-centeredness in the world. A lot of people just thinking they're entitled and they deserve something when they haven't earned it, and they can't be thankful for anything because they feel the world owes them something. If you find yourself in that condition, if you find yourself bitter and angry, let it go. Be thankful for the opportunities you have. Um, my Eric's brother is in Ecuador. Things are tough. Um, Wishing they could be here. There's a lot of people wishing this country. I hate it when people criticize this country of all the problems and everything it has, and yet there are people killing themselves to come over the border. I have family members that escaped from Cuba on a boat, on a raft, to go over to Mexico, to come across the border, to come to immigration and become um, political asylum and ask for political asylum because there's no food in Cuba. There's no medicine. You put that crap in your pocket about having the greatest medical attention in the world. My sister-in-law is laying in a bed where they can't even find the medication that she needs for pain, and an anti-inflammatory that requires a prescription. They can't find it, and she's been in pain for months. I can't send it because it requires a prescription for me to buy it. I would have to acquire it illegal and send it to them. For all you communist bastards out there that you know have that position that I should get $20 an hour just for breathing. Good luck with that. I don't sympathize with you. Go live somewhere else. Go move to Canada. Denmark is one of the best economies in the world for employees. Go move somewhere like that. Leave. Uh, you bitch and moan about the way things are in this country when the rest of the world is living on $1 a day, and you're complaining about what you have. It's all the billionaires' fault that control everything. I can't do anything about billionaires, bro. I'm deaf to it. Don't talk to me about shit I can't do anything about. It makes no difference to me that Bill Gates and all these guys have billions of dollars, and then Walmart refuses to pay people when they're a billionaire company. Hold on, I got Princess calling me. Yes, honey. Absolutely. Whenever they call, I'll answer it. Okay, dale. Yep, bye. I have another delivery from somewhere of something she ordered, and they say they've been calling and I don't answer. But again, I'm probably on this. Nope, nobody's called. They're wrong. They need to answer again. Nobody's called. All right, I'll be answering the date now. Recent? Nope, nobody called. Okay, so yeah, so you have this mentality that all these billionaire companies, their average, reality is that 54% of businesses that pay for wages in this country, 54% of the wages that are paid by people like me who cannot afford to give you $70,000 a year because you think I can't pay you $20 an hour because you want to come into my restaurant and wipe tables down and think you deserve $20 an hour. It isn't the reality. I don't care if you get mad at me, get pissed, decide you're not going to subscribe, you're going to leave nasty messages, and you're going to tell me how evil I am and that I'm for the evil empire. You're somebody hurt you, bro, and you need to go find a doll and tell somebody where that person hurt you, because nobody can help you. This isn't the reality. 78% of American business are self-employed with no employees. The percentage of people that work for corporate America in those kind of jobs that are making $9 to $12 an hour for flipping a burger is very small in all reality. It's not the majority of America. So you're pissed off that people shouldn't be billionaires. Well, I don't care. The fact is that that's always happened. It always will happen. And it's always going to happen until Jesus Christ comes in. We're not going to change it. Jesus says the poor will always be among you. Nothing we can do about poverty except do what we can about poverty. You know that the greatest way out of poverty is to be self-employed, to start your own business. I'm still waiting. Let me let her know because she won't believe me if I tell her. Nobody has called from the gate. I get people who deliver my Instacart. They don't speak English. They're working for Instacart, making more money than they could for somebody else. I got to respect the hustle. I got to respect the hustle. The way out of poverty is for you. I mean, look, you say, well, it's just nobody gives me an opportunity. I said, you're full of crap. I'll tell you, I'll prove to you that you're full of crap right now. The easiest thing to learn to do is clean windows, right? It requires a bucket, a sponge, a rod, a sweeper, and maybe another wiping rag, right? And you can go out right now, invest $50, start walking around the neighborhoods and shopping centers and offering people to clean their shopping windows for 5, $10, $15. It'll take you 20 minutes to clean windows for $15 once a week, once a month. I don't have $50. I can't help you. Go borrow it. You'll find it if you really want to do it. And go walk by shopping centers. Say, hey, look, man, I'm unemployed and I'm cleaning windows. I'll clean your windows. If you don't like the way I clean your windows, don't pay me. I'm gonna walk inside and it's $15 to clean your windows. Right now, you're unemployed, on welfare, living somewhere in a bad situation, and yet you can take a bicycle, strap that bucket to the back, figure a way to strap that rod to it, and go ride your bike for 5, 10 miles. You'll get exercise, and you go to a nice shopping center and you clean windows. You go buy one shirt that you look super nice in, and you go clean windows. The fact that you think you're stuck and you can't do anything, that doesn't say you're stuck and you can't do anything, because people find opportunities all the time. It's your mindset. I can't overcome your mindset. I can't change the way you think. I saw a guy running through a neighborhood. Listen to me. I got to respect the hustle. I don't care if he doesn't have a license. I don't care if he doesn't have insurance. The fact that he tries. But I saw a guy in a neighborhood. This was like 2 years ago, with a bicycle. He took one of those little kiddie trailers that you carry your kid on, little trailers you put in the back of a bike. He put a piece of wood on it, a flatbed, and he had a lawnmower on it with a bucket on top and a rake. And he was riding through the neighborhoods, mowing lawns on his bicycle. I have more respect for that guy doing that than the guy who sits at home and says, I don't have any opportunities. Because that guy is the quintessential entrepreneur, the spirit of an immigrant who came to this country with nothing, grew up without a father in welfare, and figured it out on his own. So the fact that you say you don't have opportunities is total bullshit. Is what you want is, I want to show up somewhere, somebody pay me $20 an hour, I will put zero effort in, and I want to be able to work 3 days a week, spend the rest of my time playing video games so I can have work-life balance. I have no respect for you. This is hard for you to understand, but this is reality. This is the land of opportunity. I don't care who's in the White House. I don't care who's in the White House. I don't care about the Republican Party. I don't care about the Democrat Party. Yes, they make life harder and things are harder for people because they made bad decisions. That still doesn't excuse you from sitting there and not making an effort to make yourself better. They can't figure out how to find me in the gate. They haven't been calling. You see, that's what we as entrepreneurs and people who go out and get our own and had to hustle and had to work and go through a bunch of bad employers to figured out that nobody was going to give it to us. And the fact that 78%, almost 80%, look at the 80-20 rule, are self-employed with no employees. The businesses in America. Only, I think I'm looking at the numbers as part of the course I'm teaching on entrepreneurship and startup entrepreneur. I'm going to have a course coming out on that to help people start up. But only about 10% or less have 4 employees or more. The majority of the small business right here, this small business, walk down Main Street America, all these warehouses, these are not mega billionaire companies. These are mom and pops who take home less than $50,000 a year in income, risked everything so that they can start a business, so that you can come work and bitch and moan about how we're exploiting you and not paying you when the customer walks in through the door and is not willing to pay your prices and always beating you up on your price. This is what you don't see. So forgive me if I seem to have no compassion for you. The fact is, my compassion is I'm giving you the information, you refuse to do nothing with it, and then you blame everybody else for the predicament you're in. Because if you want to learn anything, you go to YouTube, and if you want to learn how to do SEO, there's 1 million videos. Hey, but I got to spend 100 hours, investing and watching these videos before I can find a client. Yeah, and if you go to college, you got to spend 4 years. And if you start a job, you're going to have to work your way to the bottom. And if you start as an apprentice, you don't know anything, you're going to make $15 an hour and have to learn. And guess what? That's called paying the price. It shouldn't be that way. Well, you're delusional, my friend, because that's the way it is all over the world. And nobody's ever going to change that. The fact that you want it to be easier than it really is, because you had parents did not teach you the value of work, and did not teach you how to stand on your own 2 feet, and did not teach you what it's like to have work ethic. That's not my problem. My problem is to find the person that wants to get ahead, move ahead, get up, do, and that's the guy I'm going to hire. And it's like a needle in a haystack. Here's what it's like. It's like finding a needle in the haystack, and then you have to remove every little straw in that haystack to find it. That's how hard it is. So when I'm sitting on my end of the table and you're bitching about that, that's the moment the conversation ended. Next, we have no time for it. Well, now I really have to go because it's 4:30. Let me ask her. Not on the internet watching videos. What the hell? You monitoring me? What? No, hell no. Furthermore, hell no. I'm actually doing a podcast, smoking a cigar, waiting for you to finish. And by the way, how long before you finish? She's giving me crap about not answering the gate. The phone is right here. I send her a screenshot. Nobody's called. You're probably on your phone because I'm always on my phone. I get it. I can see why she would think that I'm always on my phone. I'm always watching something. I'm always talking to one of you guys. All right, bro. I'm going to call it a day too because, I got things to do. But this is a 3-hour cigar. And, Mr. Will gave this to me. And there's no way I'm throwing this cigar away. A cigar this expensive. And like I said, I can talk for 3 hours. I've done 4-hour podcasts, by the way. If you've been following me, you know that I can do it. I can't hire Mr. Diaz. No, Mr. Diaz. Oh, there's Will. There's Will. There he is. There he is. Thank you, Will. If you haven't been watching me, this is your cigar. This is the one you gave me, brother. I'm going to smoke this thing until it burns my finger and gets down to the nub because it's so damn good. And I'm so thankful for you for doing this for me. So yeah, let me see. So I'm gonna have to go working on my feet now, like 15 minutes. There you go. All right, so I got 15 minutes before I have to pick her up. So I'm going to go ahead and call it quits, folks. Thank you so much for being on, hanging out with me on a Saturday. You guys have nothing to do with your lives that you gave 2 hours of your life to be here with me, you losers. Thank you for being on. I love you. I will see you on Tuesday at 4 o'clock p.m., where I'll be doing some training, and I will be doing some marketing training, sales training, pest control training. Let me know, man. Send me your questions, comment on this group. Tell me what you want me to talk about. I will do the research for you. I will put in the hours, and I will come back with you with the answers that I know, and I will talk to my people that know something more than I do, the people I've surrounded myself with, that I can call on any moment's notice and ask them a question, and they will answer me. So thank you so much. Guys, have a pestacular day.